Hope always lives on, and at any time, information can be provided to the family of any missing person about their whereabouts or status.
The loss is very heavy.
We searched for the burial place, but we couldn't find it.
Somewhere we have hope that maybe there could be news about those two.
I don't know.
Is he my brother, or who is he?
But the main thing is that no one is sure.
Hello, Ms. Raya. We are contacting you regarding the State Commission on Prisoners, Missing Persons and Hostages. Your brother, Mahmudov Ramiz Mahmudoglu, is registered with us as a missing person. You can visit the State Commission regarding this matter tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
Yesterday, during the day, we received a call asking us to come. I have come from the village of Sala in Zakatala.
As you are already aware, since February 2021, search, excavation, exhumation, and identification work has been conducted for our citizens who went missing in the territories liberated from occupation. First of all, I would like to introduce myself to you. Ms. Rahila, your brother, Ramiz Mahmudov, son of Mahmud, was born on July 11, 1975, in the village of Ashagi Tala, Zagatala district. He went missing on April 26, 1994, in the area of Sayyid Suleiman village, Tartar district, and has been registered as a missing person with the State Commission for 30 years now. As a result of the search and the excavation work carried out in our liberated territories, the identity of your brother, Ramiz Mahmudov, son of Mahmud, has been identified through the found Omini remains Miss Rahila. The remains were found. Identification is being carried out with the DNA sample taken from your family members. It was declared that one of the remains found in the Sayyid Suleiman village area of the Tartar district was your brother, Ramiz Mahmudov, your son of Mahmud.
I never thought I would receive such news. I thought it would be like giving the DNA analysis and leaving. The loss is very heavy. On one hand, I am happy that my brother's body has been found.
Our brother Ramiz was a soldier. He participated in battles for the homeland. Of course, delivering such news is also very difficult for us. We also do not wish to bring you the news of your loved ones. Deaths. I pray for patience for you from God. The remains of our martyrs are kept at the Ministry of Health, Forensic Medical Examination and Pathological Anatomy Union. On the day of the funeral, starting from 9 in the morning, we will hand them over with the participation of the relevant authorities. Missing is a very difficult task that requires calmness and psychological endurance. But considering that the families of the missing have the right to receive information about their missing relatives, if the responsibility of providing information about the identification of the missing person falls on you, you must fulfill this responsibility, no matter how difficult or heavy it may be.
I came to my mother and suddenly said, "Mom, my brother's body has been found." Saying it suddenly, this news after 30 years, also broke my mother's heart. We might lose my mother after my brother. He had been writing letters until he went missing. The letter I couldn't read before, I would gladly read today. Hello, how are you doing? Dad, Mom, everyone at home. After I lost contact with you from the front, they brought us to Belagan. My battle started from here. Thus, after a few attacks, we took 3 or 4 villages from the Armenians. Now we are on defense in the village of Al-Khanli, in the Fuzuli district. Anyway, Ramiz, for your information, it's the historical village of Al-Khanli in the Fuzuli district. Take the weapon in your hand to open fire. Release the safety. Load the weapon. Fire. Reload. Fire. Reload. Fire. For 30 years, no mourning was held. We always hoped he would return. They honored him as a martyr. He wasn't just my martyr. They buried him as everyone's martyr. That is, they sent him off as a martyr with our flag and prayers.
I could have known right from the very beginning. Indeed, written down. Yes, yes, yes, yes. You should have brought it. Do it like whatever, whatever, whatever, whatever, whatever.
I heard the deceased wasn't found at all yesterday. I also wanted to come here and participate as a member. Brother, I myself was in the battles in '92. One day, let it be said that a boy from Asacha came here. He went, "I am a lady. This is your brother Ramiz." We got acquainted with Ramiz. For 3 months, we fought shoulder to shoulder with Ramiz in the same place. We used to call him Peka, but his name was Ramiz. He was such a well-known, respected, and wonderful brother. May God bless you. Thank you very much. May God grant you a long life. Amen. But be condemned, be condemned. Your son has not died. Your son is a martyr. Your son has been declared missing.
The State Commission was established by the decree of the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan in January 1993. The main important element of establishing the State Commission is initially compiling lists related to missing persons, preparing lists of those who have been taken prisoner, ensuring their release, and conducting the search for the missing under the supervision of the state. After the victory achieved in the Patriotic War, the families of missing persons are now approaching the State Commission with great hope, and we conduct investigations and list these individuals.
Your date of birth, your name.
Based on the certificate agreement signed in 2008 between the International Red Cross Committee and the State Commission, we began collecting biological samples from the families of the missing. Since 2014, specialists from the State Commission and the International Red Cross Committee have been carrying out these tasks. During the process, biological samples, specifically saliva samples, are taken from 1 to 4 members of a missing person's family. Biological. Samples is conducted by the Genetic Research Center established under the main military medical department of the State Service, funded by the resources allocated on the instruction of the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Mr. Ilham Aliyev. According to today's information, more than 11,800 biological samples have already been collected and archived from 3,600 missing families.
The identification process takes a minimum of 3 to 4 days, and in some cases, when certain repetitions are needed, it can last up to a week. We have created a database for those individuals. Both the genetic profiles obtained from the missing persons, that is from bone samples, have been placed in that database. At the same time, once the results are determined, the genetic profiles formed based on samples taken from citizens searching for their relatives are compared. In cases of a 100% match, the Commission is informed. Initial research on the remains is conducted in the relevant laboratory of pathogen automobility, and efforts are made to identify bone samples belonging to the same skeleton. Subsequently, a specific piece from each bone sample is sent to our laboratory where we carry out further work on it. This work involves isolating DNA from the bone sample and extracting the genetic profile of the individual from this DNA sample.
Our laboratory is based on standard operating procedures used worldwide. We work with those procedures, and these standard operating procedures are used in many countries around the world for searching, finding, examining, and identifying the remains of missing persons. If bones remain on the soil surface for a long time, the quality of the DNA can deteriorate under the influence of ultraviolet light. This creates difficulties in our work. Here, in the laboratory, the first thing we do is establish a biological profile. What is a biological profile? We determine race, ethnicity, then gender, age, height, and then the types of injuries. There can be ante-mortem injuries on the bones, peri-mortem injuries, and post-mortem injuries. Peri-mortem injuries are those sustained at the time of death. The type of these injuries is always noted in the report. Is it a bullet mark or fractures from blunt force trauma? All of this is noted in the report. If we have enough information about ante-mortem signs, such as the clothing the person was wearing at the time, diseases evident in the bones, dental anomalies, dental caps, and signs of teeth cleaning. If there are dental prosthetics, all of these are recorded. If there have been traumas and there are fractures on the bones, all of these are thoroughly examined, photographed, and presented to the relatives by the prosecutor's office. We can state that the identification of that person is established. We had an elderly woman who had no close relatives. She had no direct relatives to provide a DNA sample. We were able to determine her identity based on her gender, age, gender characteristics, and the diseases she had, suggesting it could belong to that woman. Still, this is not 100% certain. This is only an auxiliary tool.
first mass grave we discovered was in the village of Dashalti in the Shusha district, and it was carried out in February, from February 2022 to the present. 22 mass graves have been discovered in the territories of Shusha district, Kalbajar district, Lachen district, Agdam district, Kojali district, and Fizuli district.
July. On the night of the 26th, my three brothers were fighting. Usupov Zakir Kamran Oglu, Usupov Alyar Kamran Oglu, Usupov Elshad Kamran Oglu. Along with my mother and father, my brothers were captured. When the Red Crescent Society came to rescue them, my father and mother were taken, but my brothers were not released. We considered them missing and waited for them as such. We believed they were alive. We came here with my brother's remains to the Kojali cemetery, and for the first time we set foot here after 30 years when the cemetery was open. They informed us after 30 years. The remains of one were found, we brought it and buried it. At least the remains were found, so our eyes are no longer on the roads. This side is the old cemetery of Kojali. But this is the Alley of Martyrs, where the graves of our martyrs who went missing in Kojali, and whose remains were found after 30 years, are brought and buried. We still have many missing people. Along with my brothers, we still have hope that maybe there could be news about those too.
Funds are being allocated for the search for grave sites and identification work as per the instructions of the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan. Grave sites are gathered based on witness statements submitted to the State Commission and information disseminated from executive authorities. Additionally, coordinates provided by the International Committee of the Red Cross, with whom we cooperate, are also taken as a basis.
This is the area of Evas Kanli Bey village in Agdam. More precisely, it is the area of the village's farm. We had trenches here. From that village to this direction, like this. Our trench line was here. In this direction, Armenians had occupied all the territories. 30 years ago, intense battles were taking place in this area. We lived through very difficult days here.
Mr. Zuru, as far as I know, you participated in the First Karabakh battles. Were you mainly in the Neyhantar area?
I was mainly in the Agdam area.
Did you suffer many losses there, Mr. Zuru?
Yes, we suffered many losses there. On April 18th, you could say, from every side, we went into exile here.
Do you roughly know which of the missing persons, your comrades in arms, are here?
Approximately how many children's bodies were there in this area when I saw them? You could say most of them were torn to pieces. God willing, if it's destined, let's see. There are families left with such suffering and hardship, for example. Their children, their grandmothers, they are all waiting for news to come out. Let's see what would happen when it starts.
Martyrs remain unfound. Burial sites are altered to hide torture evidence, but the State Commission continues its search.
At this moment in time, we find ourselves in a situation where we are actively engaged in various activities and processes. These activities are part of our ongoing efforts to achieve our goals and objectives. We are currently analyzing the data we have collected, and we are also in the process of making informed decisions based on this analysis. Our team is working diligently to ensure that we are on the right track and that we are making progress in the right direction. We are committed to maintaining our focus and dedication to our tasks at hand.
Even if there are 20, even if excavation work is carried out, it does not reach the remains there. The reason for that is that the melting process does not reach the remains there. To cover up our real traces and their actions, they change the burial sites. In such cases, between Fizuli and Kojali, we have encountered excavations in the area. And despite this, by the State Commission, the work to identify the burial sites of missing persons will continue. Currently, one word, we have brought Ilham Asgarov to the city of Kankendi to testify as a witness.
In 92, during the battles in the direction of Agdara, I was captured by Armenian enemies in the village of Musurata in Agdara. From there they took me to another village. There they divided us, so to speak, while subjecting us to torture. From there they also brought me to Kankendi. According to the information they provided, they said this was Kankendi. We arrived at night. Our hands were tied behind us. And when I came to my senses, my hands were untied. I saw that it was dark. They kept us in the basement of a building with bars. There was a real young man next to me. He was Muhammad Overkan from the village of Kojoven. In fact, he passed away 2 days later, joining Paradise. They buried him in the area where I was held. In Kankendi, now let's search. Hopefully we'll find him too. As for the location, I compared it to a military setting. Let's put it this way. Since there were soldiers, it was as if we were entering through a door into a basement, and from the window with bars, the front side opened up skyward. No, it's an area, I mean. It's not an area. No, I mean the front of it is open, he said. Yes, you are oriented, facing towards the sunrise. I mean, that building is there, yes. And in front of that building, there was nothing like that for me. There was no building behind this. The area resembles it. I mean, the place where we stayed, the place where we buried, was also huge. It was a valley. I mean, nothing is to be built there. There's no flat place to build anything. Valley, valley. And the front side of the valley was like a forested edge. It's not exactly in the middle of the city.
There are soldiers there. There are soldiers, but there was no military border.
There was no money either. I mean, there was no currency there. People from outside would come. There was no road for cars either. I mean, the place where they buried the deceased was also there. It was a trench. It was a valley.
You planted it there. With what did he commit the murder?
Nothing. Just nothing. Nothing, just straight to the point. It's like in front of the building where I stayed, about 50, 60 meters, up 100 meters away from the building. I had been thinking for many years. I never let it slip from my mind that when our lands were liberated, we would go and find it. Today we came to that house with pride. Unfortunately, we couldn't find it. I can't remember that area.
We inspected several places here that resemble that building. However, the alteration of the area, specifically the demolition of buildings and the construction of new ones, hindered the identification of that place, and he couldn't remember it. That is to say, there are also such outcomes from the work conducted by our State Commission.
This is the village of İlçiler. We suffered many losses here. The last position we fought at with my brother was between the village of Gülüçe and the village of İlkçı, where there was a canal. It happened in that area. My brother unknowingly entered into the Armenians' midst. In 1994, on April 7th, after my brother Kokayev Elsin Versabirolu was captured, they brought him here from Zankundi. There were Armenian corpses here. They removed them and put my brother into that pit. These details were told to me by brothers who were in captivity. Based on what they said, I have concluded that my brother is in the pit.
Mr. Rekab, according to what you know, it is somewhere here. According to what you said, this pit was in the yard of the school building here.
The pit, let's say, was on the sunrise side opposite the school, where there was a fence of an apple orchard. It was right at the base of the fence next to it. Yes, 15 meters from it. On the sunset side, there was our dining hall's garbage pit. Yes. So, relative to that garbage pit, you can go and find that pit.
All right, this garbage pit. Currently the terrain has changed and the area is almost leveled.
There is a depression, so probably from the direction of the pit's depression, you can sense that there was a pit here that has sunk.
It could also be a mound. They might have piled soil over that pit in the past. So, the area you see now is the area. This area, you can see that there are no traces left of the school or that fence.
Yes, that's right.
Are you sure it's in that pit?
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yes.
So who informed you about this?
Those who were held captive with my brother for 3 days said that they took my brother. They told him to show the location of the bodies. And my brother went there and didn't return to Kankendi. I also think that if they took them out from here, they put my brother in that pit.
Now then, Mr. Eleanor, let's start the excavation work.
I swear. By the Creator. And there's a place where Gulu's punishment is written. When I pass by there, I feel like I can smell my brother. Even if you apologize to the one who speaks. I still don't listen. I don't know. Was he my brother or who is he? But the main star is that someone is there. He was coming to some house with bitter joy. Bitter joy.
I express my gratitude to the families of the missing for the endurance, patience, and resilience they have shown over all these years. Because losing a close relative is a very difficult process. Living through that process, that suffering and pain for 30 years, is a very heavy matter. But the families of the missing should know that. As the State Commission, we will fulfill the task set before us by the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Mr. Ilham Aliyev, to the end. This process will continue until the fate of the last missing person is clarified.
Hello? We are contacting you on behalf of the State Commission regarding prisoners and missing persons, as well as citizens who have been taken captive.